They have been playing football on the banks of the Tennessee River since 1891. Names like Neyland, Manning, Majors, Laricella, White, and many others have left their mark on football in Knoxville. But for over 30 years, a 6'3" possession receiver from tiny Elizabethton, Tennessee named Johnny Mills held a record thought to be unbreakable before a 22-year-old former baseball player arrived on campus in 2001. Go! Go! There you go. Come on, Kelly.
He came in with a goal to play football, to be the very best he could be. He used that as a stepping stone, which is, you know, a lot of our athletes, they don't want to say that, but it is a stepping stone. You don't play for the University of Tennessee, or you don't go out there and play for, you know, a Texas or somebody up there, or really any college in the country, and think that you don't want a shot at the NFL. But Kelly knew that. Kelly knew he would have a shot. He worked his tail off, you know, year-round to get himself where he needed to be.
It's hard work right here. Got to from a family, man.
As the nation mourned the tragedy of September 11th, on a Saturday night in Knoxville, many were looking for a diversion from 2 weeks of sorrow. And on that night, national television audience at number 15, Kelly Washington.
The captains now will flip the coin, and it's time finally to play football. Tennessee and LSU tonight from Neyland Stadium. Glad you're with us. Get ready for the kickoff. Clausen out of the shotgun. Back to throw. Looking. Firing over the middle. The pass is complete. It's complete to Kelly Washington. Washington's going to walk in for a Tennessee touchdown. 70 yards as Casey Clausen found Kelly Washington on the slant. Three-step drop. Clausen fires complete to Kelly Washington as he rolls it up to the 47-yard line. Gets the snap, steps back, fires, and it's complete to Kelly Washington. Boy, he almost broke it. Here's a fade pattern to Kelly Washington. He's got it at midfield. 256 yards tonight by Kelly Washington. Well, Johnny Mills' record, he was a great receiver at Tennessee. It stood for a long, long time. And Kelly Washington, this 22-year-old rookie, erases it tonight, and he's been brilliant.
Unofficially set an all-time receiving record tonight. I haven't got that officially, but one heck of 256 yards.
Washington's spectacular night etched his name as a Tennessee single-game record holder. Many ball fans listening that night asked this same question: who is the man he replaced? Who is Johnny Mills? And who is better to ask than the man himself?
Who I am? Well, at the moment I'm a grandparent, a good husband for 30 years to the same woman, a small business in a small town, and I'm as comfortable and as happy as anybody that you'll speak with. I was born in the coal fields of southeast Kentucky in Bell County, and my dad finished optometry school, and American Optical was looking for places for him to set up, and he started his practice in Elizabethton.
Elizabethton became home for the Mills family, and as Johnny grew older, he made a name for himself on the fields and sandlots of his new town.
Football was the one thing that I could do in high school better than most people. Everybody wants some way to shine. Everybody needs something that they can do well, that people look up to them, that you can achieve fame, or people brag on you, or some way to stand apart from everybody else. In my case, it was football.
And in a small East Tennessee town, everything stopped for Friday night football.
High school Friday night football was the glue that really held the community together in a lot of ways. I was taller than about everybody. I was 6'3", 195 pounds, which makes you stand out in those days. And you get noticed. You know, if you're playing with teams that are not real good, you don't have to be great to stand out. So I was the quarterback because we didn't have anybody else to play it, and I was a linebacker, and I was a receiver sometimes, and a halfback sometimes. So it was easy to be noticed because of my size, and I could play the game pretty good.
His efforts for the Cyclones gained him recognition from the University of Tennessee, and his next stop was Knoxville.
The most drastic change in my life ever was the day that my mother and dad and my brothers and my little sister took me to Knoxville and left me. It was Gibbs Hall's second year. And they took me down there. In those days, it was 3 hours and 45 minutes on 11E through every red light between here and Knoxville and Greenville and Morristown and Magnolia Avenue. And when they left me, my whole world changed drastically, and it was not easy. So you have to go there and start fresh. You have to meet all these new guys, and everybody that you meet when you're a freshman football player is as good as you, and a lot of them were better than I was at football. That takes some getting used to. All of a sudden you're in the crowd, you're in the mix, you're not standing out. So between the social part of it, of trying to make new friends, and all of a sudden the school part of it, where you have to go to class, then you got to practice ball, it was just a whole lot to absorb. And that's probably the reason when I signed at the University of Tennessee, in those days there were no scholarship restrictions. You could sign as many people as you had the money to pay for the scholarship. I think there was about 92 to 95 guys that showed up at Lower Hudson Field my first day as a freshman. By the time I graduated, 4 years later, I didn't redshirt. There were 9 true seniors and 5 redshirt seniors. The rest of them had fallen by the wayside, transferred, got hurt, dropped out, whatever.
He made the squad, and his reward was playing on a field that he had only seen in black and white on a small television. He soon realized the tradition he was joining.
To a young guy who played Elizabethton High School in front of 2,000 people maybe, to just walking into Neyland Stadium. In those days, they sometimes had UT football, and it was black and white, but they were running the single wing. Johnny Majors, Bobby Majors, Buddy Cruz. I mean, these names that I knew, and walk in that stadium, and all of a sudden, you're there, you're in it. You're part of it. And you'd read the book about General Neyland. We were asked to read about General Neyland and find out some of the history of the school and the tradition of the school. To be a part of that from a little town like Elizabethton, it was overwhelming.
Mills' senior season was a successful one. He led the team in receiving, and as the campaign came to a close, a final home game on national television against the Kentucky Wildcats would be the final time he stepped onto Shield-Watkins Field.
We were pretty good. We'd lost a total of, I think in that year we were 7-3, and we'd lost 3 ball games by a total of 6 points. Kentucky game was on ABC Sports. In those days, you didn't have ESPN, you didn't have 25 football games on every weekend, you just had selected games, and that game was on ABC Sports, and that was a pretty good motivation to play. And the coaches would tell you, you're going to play in front of millions of people. Well, we're used to playing in Neyland Stadium in front of 65,000 people. That was capacity in those days. And it kind of heightened the concentration because it was Kentucky. And in those days, Kentucky and Vanderbilt, we were supposed to beat Kentucky and Vanderbilt. That was just a given.
It comes when Mills catches a Warren pass at the 35 and goes the rest of the way for a touchdown. The play covers 72 yards. Setting Mills free is a sensational block by Flowers, who comes on like a streak to end the distance.
I knew that I was going to have a good game. I knew it because we looked at film. And we looked at the coverage, and I saw how they were trying to cover the split end, and there was no way. There's no way they could do it with the scheme that they had. So when the game started, I think the first pass they threw me was 35, 40 yards, something like that. It was something I didn't use to catch. I was more of a possession receiver for the most part. You know, the 10-yard hook, 12-yard out, something like that, something across the middle. But in that case, they were trying to cover me with the guy all the way from the other side of the field, and they never caught on to it. So I just kept getting wider and wider, which made him run farther and farther, and he couldn't get there in time. And they never changed anything. So as a result, I don't know how many balls I caught, but it was some kind of record.
Warren DeMille gained 33 yards. At the end of the game, Mills had accounted for 225 yards as a receiver for a new Southeastern Conference record.
Given my speed, it was astounding because I was not a very fast guy. But it sure made me look good in that game. It was a good day to have a lot of catches and a lot of yards. And I think that record stood for several years. I really don't know. I know that when it was broken, ESPN called me and said, "I guess you're killed. You're probably sad." And I said, "Fellas, I had a 1964 Chevy and I had brown hair when all this was going on. That's a long time ago. I moved on from those days."
Some kind of record it was. When the dust settled at Neyland Stadium that afternoon, number 85 had gained 225 yards receiving, a mark that would stand until that September night in 2001. Despite his individual triumph, it was a bittersweet day as he wore the orange in Knoxville for the final time.
I remember the Kentucky game when at the very last of the game they had taken me out. We were ahead and we were going to win, and they put somebody else into play. But it was a very bittersweet moment for me because I was on the sidelines, and when it came down, the clock was running out. I stepped out onto the field because I knew that that would be the last time I was ever on that field, and it brought some tears to my eyes. I mean, it was coming to an end, and it was a sad day for me.
Even though he no longer holds the single-game receiving record, Mills is forever shaped by his time in Knoxville and deeply believes in the words, "ball for life."
So football gave me an entree into the world. It prepared me. Any job that I've ever had, any situation that I've ever been in, because I went to the University of Tennessee and because I stuck it out, and because I got my degree, I can handle anything. Any adversity, it prepared me for anything that comes up in this world. I'll assure you, if you can play a Division I football and you can go through 2-a-day practices and you get hurt and you still push, you know, you're prepared for a lot of things. So having that structure and playing ball, it meant everything to me. But when it was over, it was over. It's time to move on. You know, I played ball for 4 years in college. And shoot, that was 45 years ago. I don't know how many years ago it was, but how much living do you do after football? You do a lot. That's exactly what it means. That is what it is. I'm involved for life. There's my allegiance is to the university and to the football team, to the sports program. You cannot go through playing football for the University of Tennessee without being changed. So to go there and to start for 3 years, to have the success that I did, to make the friendships that I made, how can you not be involved for life? You know, you can't do that and not be touched and moved by it. I still stand up when they play the alma mater. I mean, it's important to me. It always will be.
From his time at Tennessee, Mills has experiences and relationships. But rest assured, he left as big an impact on Big Orange football as it did on him.